Glad to see y'all. You know what we say, live and direct, live on the set. Got my fault. Hope to have a very exquisite live this evening for the people, all of the subscribers, all of those that's gonna stumble across us tonight for the first time. It's been a minute since we gone live. I'm gonna try to boost these things up to a couple of days a week. That's what we want to aim for. 3 days a week. If we can go live 3 days a week, we hitting the ground running. And that's what we want to do. And for those of you who's just checking in, you see it right there. It's right there. The title is there. Are relationships over? Over. Are they flatline? Do we need, excuse me, pardon me, do we need to revamp the way we look at relationships? Are relationships a thing of the past? Are they done? Have they been unalived? Have they been unalived? And if so, who unalived it? So we're going to start off business this evening. It's been a serious time for some people. And got a loved one, got a dear brother of mine, dear brother, real close to the heart, my brother. And he's going through a lot right now. He knows who he is. Want to let him know that I'm here for him. As always, goes without saying. Hold your head, stay strong. Don't give in. Don't give in, don't give up. There's no reward for giving in, there's no reward for giving up, and it doesn't make anything better. That's the misconception when it comes to pain. Pain is just such a uncomfortable feeling. We just want relief right away, and we think that if we give up, then all of a sudden the pain will end. And that's not true at all. Actually, when you give up, it's more pain that begins. So hang in the fight, bro, and we here for you. But y'all see it right there. What's going on? Salute to you. Thank you for checking in on the live. Pardon me. What's going on? Jackson, what's going on? How you guys doing? Pardon me. Pardon me for messing up. I screamed for a brief bit. Hey, what's going on, brother? Trolls, good to see you. So good to see all of you guys. We trying to make this stuff 3 days a week, everybody. 3 days a week. My family, India's always checking in. I got to make a stop. I got to make a journey out to India because India is always showing me love. Always showing me love. Maybe I can get some good food in India. Go to some nice places, right? Get some hospitality. Want to appreciate all of you guys that's joining the live. I don't know about that, Jackson. But nevertheless, salute to everybody out there. Come to Holland. I got family in Holland. I got family in Holland. You got to message me. We can link up. I got family in Holland for sure, for sure. I'm due to go back. I got an open invitation to Holland. I got family all throughout the country. I got an open invitation. I need to go back and see them. So just landing the plane on the kind and hopefully comforting words. I believe they're in Harlem and they're in Amsterdam. For those who don't know, I'm talking with the chat with my good people trolls out in Holland and Harlem, like how there's Harlem in New York City, uptown. The original Harlem is in Holland, but I believe that's where they at. But I got to check back again. But want to appreciate Big, check you out, Big Leon, check you out. Thank you all of you guys for um, joining the live. Oh yeah, you're in Rotterdam. Yes, I've been to Rotterdam. Rotterdam in Holland is a very beautiful place. I enjoy it. I look cool. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So definitely just want to land the plane on the well wishes to my brother who's going through it right now. He's lost some real close, dear loved ones to him. And that's just the cycle of life, man. Some are here and then they're not, and it's really tough. But We got to go through it and keep their memory and keep their good thoughts and everything alive. But y'all see it right there, man. So salute to all of you guys. These lives are absolutely nothing without the audience, without the people checking in, without the subscribers, without the followers. So we are live and direct, live on the set. I'm here laid up right now on my love seat. You see what it says right there? That flower right there, by the way, was given to me by my wife, my beautiful, lovely wife, who I love so much. What you got? Oh, appreciate that. Everybody tap the screen, double tap, triple tap, quadruple tap, sextuple tap, which is a number. Don't go crazy on me. It's a number. I'm not referring to any actions. Pecan, what's going on? Sylvester, what's going on? Appreciate all of you guys. Maz, what's going on? Leslie, what's going on? Appreciate all of you guys for joining the live. But as I was saying, that flower right there was given to me by my wife. That flower was given to me by my wife as a thoughtful gesture from her to me. Excuse me. A nice cold beverage to get the night going right. But as a thoughtful gesture given to me to seek forgiveness, to make amends, to help heal whatever was fractured in our relationship, in our marriage. What's going on, everybody? Good to see all of y'all. Appreciate all of you guys for joining the live. Appreciate all of you guys for joining the live. Appreciate all of you guys all over for coming on through and rocking with us. So, like I said, that flower right there was given to me by my wife, my lovely wife, who will eventually be joining us on these lives. She's a bit camera shy, but I'm here on the love seat holding it down. And the plaque right above the back of me, it says, what does it say? Let's read that together. All because, all because two people fell in love. So that's what happened. So the title, the topic for tonight is relationships. Are relationships over? I want to hear from you guys because obviously we see children are born, which comes from you know what kind of activity. Obviously, we see people booed up. Obviously, we see people sending hearts and all of that type of stuff and emojis to people. So we see those things, but is the actual relationship, is it done? Flatline, no more. Like, right? Is it over it? Are people is has hookup culture, did that unalive relationships? Is that what did it? Was it feminism? Is it toxic masculinity? Who is guilty of unaliving relationships if really and truly they have been unalive? They're no more. Our relationship's over. So that's what we want to get from you guys tonight. Hopefully everybody joining is cool. We appreciate you guys. We're always in it for the entertainment and the jokes and the laughs. We could use some humorous comments. It's all good. It's all love. It all goes to the good. So the question is, relationships, are they over? We've seen quite a few relationships right now that's getting a bad rap. Al Reed, what's going on, Al? Who's that? Righteous One, what's going on, Righteous One? Larry, what's going on, Larry? Gladys Ewan, what's up? What's up? What's up? Good to see all of you guys joining the chat. Drop a comment, drop a like, double tap the screen. Marie, how you doing, Marie? So we've seen some relationships right now. You got a marriage of Papoose, rapper extraordinaire, mega freestyler. Everybody knows Papoose. These are people who seem to have reignite what black love should look like. That's what they said. Papoose and his soon-to-be ex-wife, Remy Ma. Remy Ma, another rapper extraordinaire. And they were married for some time. They had a public wedding. Camera crews were out there. They caught it. It was all over the blogs. It was all over the hot topics. It was all in the rooms and everything because this was a successful black woman. This was a successful black man. And they got together. And when she was facing her adversity, when she was behind bars, everybody looked at him as the one who was holding her down, right? He was going to visit her, everything else. He was falsely accused of trying to break her out, which he never actually did. But he was falsely accused of that. But he seemed to have stand tall, right? He stood 10 toes down for that woman whom he loved. And because of that, they eventually got married. But now we see that marriage has come to an end. The specific details about what it is that they're saying back and forth to one another, that's not really my place. I'm not really going to entertain that. But nevertheless, we see that it's coming to an end. And that was something, a particular relationship that many people admired, many people respected, and they revered, and they thought that that meant something. They thought that that meant something for the culture. So that relationship is no more. Many relationships come to an end. If not, most relationships are going to come to an end, especially in these days and times. I want to know what you guys think. Double tap that screen. Definitely rock with us tonight. Show some support. What's going on, Shah? What's going on, Shah? Good to see you. Who's that? Some Blue. What's up, Some Blue? Sylvia. Want to thank all of you guys for joining. So those are people who definitely seem to have set a precedent for what love looks like, but we see that love has come to an end, right? We see that love has come to an end. But why? Why are relationships ending? Are relationships truly over? Is it done? If you're a hopeless romantic, are you truly hopeless? If you're looking for romance, are you looking for chivalry? When is it that you should look to settle down? Should you look to settle down in your 30s? Is that when maybe people would figure it out how to be in a relationship, how to conduct themselves, how to be held accountable, how to be loving towards their mate, right? Are men and women going to finally figure this thing out? Or are we just going to have controversy forever? They say smeg sells, controversy sell, controversy sells. Is it going to be like that forever? I got my guy here with me. He's always on the couch. He can't talk because he's not alive, but I am. So what we're doing is we're talking about relationships. Are they over? So we got Remy and Pap. We got the Diddy trial, and guess what? That was all a relationship. Seems to be an extremely ugly one, but nevertheless, that all stemmed from a relationship. The relationships that we see in the public eye, the public sphere. We got Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion. Guess what? That also was a relationship. And that ended up nasty. Dirty work, right? Dirty work. And Tory's fighting for his life, and I don't blame him. His pops is doing the right thing, standing behind his son in full support, and he's going to the furthest extent to put it out there his son's innocence, because he is alleging that his son is innocent. Word is right now, allegedly, there is evidence, right? There's footage. There is documented, unbiased, undoctored, unfiltered evidence to prove his innocence. Tory. So again, but that stems from a relationship. A relationship, as you would say, went awry, right? So we got a lot of relationships right now that's crashing down, or people who've been together for some time, and all we hear is something negative about that relationship. Many people are they're getting out here. They're talking about dating in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They saying men is out here putting themselves first. And if women will put themselves first, then they would be happy. Who believes that? Does anybody truly believe that if women put themselves first, then they would be happy? Like the way men do? I don't believe that. I don't know, Louis, if you believe that. Grace, if you believe that. Maine, if you believe that, I find that a little bit unbelievable. And the reason why I find that a little bit unbelievable is because women do put themselves first. The divorce rate, as high as it is, not only in the United States of America, but around the world, the divorce rate is seriously high. But the ones who file for divorce the most are women. And it is very comfortable and it is very probable to hear a woman say that the reason why she filed for a divorce was because she was putting herself first. At some point in time, you got to be about your happiness, and I want to do what it is that makes me happy. That's what we hear. So, is there a shortage of women putting themselves first? Is it a societal norm that men put themselves first and not women? I can't agree with that. But all in all, what does that mean for the actual relationships? Because if we're talking about people putting themselves first, if we're talking about people not actually engaging and interacting with one another, and even having some form of presence of mind on how to deal with that man or how to deal with that woman, then is it all done? Should our children be growing up just thinking they have no chance? What would you guys say? Would y'all say that? Because that's what we're saying. We're seeing that it's a lot of communication, a lot of conversation about a lot of relationships that's come to an end. That's what we keep seeing. You know what I mean? So all you guys, double tap that screen, man. That's what we here for. We looking for support from the people because that's what we want to know. We want to see what you guys got to say in the comments. Go ahead and share your thoughts. Let me know where you guys stand. Are relationships truly over? That's the question. When did they start to end? How did they end? I'm sure if you ask men, they'll give you a reason. That's probably going to be geared towards women. And I'm sure if you ask the ladies, they're going to give you an answer that's probably geared towards men. Chivalry itself, people say that that's been unalived. That's no longer with us a long time ago. And chivalry is kind of like the a certain etiquette and a politeness that typically would be displayed from a man towards a woman, especially when it's in the beginning stages of getting to know one another better. And that man may be not just even accommodating to that woman, but he would make sure that he's checking for her and he's being very polite, right? He's being a gentleman. And some people feel that chivalry is no more. Some people say it's feminism that put an end to chivalry because then chivalry was being perceived as something inappropriate. Like you had to have another agenda if you were being chivalrous, if that's the word. Looking for my scholars out there to help me out. If you were being chivalrous, if that's the word, help us out. If you were doing that, then you weren't doing it to be a gentleman. You were doing it either because there was something you wanted from that woman, or quite possibly you didn't think the woman could do it herself. You were a male chauvinist to think that either women shouldn't do it or they were incapable of doing it. So therefore, there became this aggression. Excuse me. There became this aggression and this dissatisfaction with chivalry. Men started getting accused of various things out of the blue, maybe just from giving a comment. Wheezy, what's going on? I see you, Wheezy. Marvin, what's going on? I see you, Marvin. Appreciate y'all for joining the live. So men started to feel, well, if I do these things, then I'm going to be accused of something. I'm going to be wrongfully accused if I hold that door, if I pull out that chair, if I give that compliment, if I give a rose, like what you see up there, what my wife gave me, my lovely wife. If I do that to a woman who I'm interested in, am I going to be perceived as the bad guy? Was it the Me Too movement Did the Me Too movement have good origins, but then it got oversaturated by thirsty lawyers who were looking to capitalize off maybe a person's public persona that wasn't the best. So they became an easy target. If you're known to be a guy that's real flirtatious with women and you have a good amount of relationships with women, then you are perceived as an easy target. The relationships may very well be consensual, but if you have so many and they're not long lasting, how can you even keep up with who's who and what's what? You know, you're not using discernment. You're just going off of your desires and your lust to be with many different women. So if one of those women connect with a thirsty lawyer, guess what? You're going down. They're gonna go right after you. They're gonna go right after you. And chances are you probably can't even remember the interaction you had with that woman if you're one of those guys who they like to target. So, but you had guys who weren't even going to that extreme and they were just seriously concerned about if I say these things, if I give a lady a compliment, if I say she looks nice today, or her hair is this, or her hair is that, or I like your new look, or you going to the gym, it's taking it looks good, then things are gonna go bad for them. Things are gonna go real bad for them. So that kind of put an end to chivalry. But then you got the ladies who are gonna say, well, it was the toxic masculinity. Men became real rude. They no longer wanted to court women. They were just looking at women for one thing, and they weren't even hiding it. Just out of the gate, they're just real rude and brutish and impolite and uncouth. Is that a word? If am I saying it correctly? They just wasn't first time. What's going on first time? That's the way how some ladies think. So if chivalry is no more, if that's been unalived, if people being polite to one another is no more, then that has to affect the relationship. Are we in our proper manner when it comes to one another? Do we conduct ourselves in the proper by the proper methods and means when it comes to men and women? Right? Some people say masculinity and femininity is a social construct. I want to know what you guys have to say about that. Is it a social construct to be masculine? Is it a social construct to be feminine? That's what some people say. But those two coming together, the masculine and the feminine, is what leads to the relationships of what we have. The relationships are based on the bond of that masculine and that feminine. The one that represents the masculine and the one that represents the feminine, they come together and they form a relationship. But there's a lot of confusion about that. There's a lot of talk, and it doesn't really seem to be shedding light on anything that we need to understand when it comes to the interactions between men and women. Those interactions and the dynamic of that relationship is one that has set many people back for a long time. A lot of people nowadays think they got the insight, they got the remedy, they got the secrets to what it is the opposite sex wants and needs. Some people feel, some women are out here saying that men like a challenge. In order to be, you gotta challenge a man. That's what a man wants. I've never in my life heard a man say that he likes a challenge from his woman, and I've never said that. I don't want a challenge from my woman. I don't get that. Um, why would you want a challenge at home? A challenge in what? Like if you're playing games, sure, I want a challenge. We playing FIFA or FC or something. Okay, fine. You playing 2K, you playing some other games Fine, let's challenge all day. But why would you want to challenge in your romantic relationship? I don't, where does that come from? Who ever said that? What man ever said, I want to be challenged by my woman? And challenged in what way? That just that doesn't even sound right. That sounds wild to me. To think that a man, the way to a man is to challenge him. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. I would suspect that a man would want a woman to be tender and delicate to him, to be loving, to be caring, to be supportive, right? To increase whatever it is that he may have, to help establish his vision in life, help him achieve his goals in whichever way she can. Where's the challenge part? And really and truly, when you have a good, healthy relationship and a man and a woman are together and they've been together for some time, that woman tends to take on a lot of characteristics of her man. And not masculine traits, but like certain phrases he may use or certain inflections in his voice at times, certain faces even. That's why they say that people who are in relationships for a long time, they start to look like one another. Sorry, what's going on? Appreciate all of you guys for joining the chat. Pardon me if I didn't acknowledge y'all, but I definitely see y'all. Double tap that screen. Let them know that you here. Let them know that we setting it ablaze tonight. We talking about relationships. You talking with a man who's been married for over 2 decades. That lovely flower that I said right there a little earlier was given to me by my lovely wife, my beautiful wife, for over 2 decades. And she just recently gave that to me. So we're talking about relationships, and are they actually over? Are they no more? What does a man want? What does a woman want? Do they know? Do we even care anymore? Does it even matter? I remember Meg Thee Stallion, who's probably got more important things on her mind right now. I remember her being on the stage vividly saying, "Man, we don't need y'all. We don't need y'all, right?" And so our relationship's over. If the women don't need us, is it done? Are we done for? Some people say men are going to become extinct, right? There's so much conversation, so much back and forth over what's going to happen between the two, and usually it's men that catch the bad end of the deal as far as moving forward. It's nothing to go out there in the public and say that you don't need men. It's nothing to go out there in the public space and say you don't even need your man, even if you're a married woman. Seen that on The View. You guys should have seen that too. So with all of this type of energy, this negative energy towards the actual relationship, the most beautiful thing on the planet Earth, as far as the involvement in two people, in my opinion, is a relationship between a man and a woman. That by far is the most beautiful thing. And it is one, if not the only, relationship that, if it is done right, leads to other relationships. And those other relationships are called siblings. If you have a husband and a wife and their relationship is successful, then it's going to lead to children. And those children are going to have relationships with the other children that are born. And those children will have relationships with their parents, right? So you see how that one relationship spawns and grows into so many other relationships. But somehow, some way, individuality is such a big thing in this world when no one on the planet Earth is an individual. You're not alone. You all came from someone else. We all come from a family. So when I say no one is an individual, I'm saying no one is here solely all by themselves. Everybody's here because somebody was here before 'em. And it was two people that were here before 'em. There was their mother and their father. Anybody want to dispute that? Anybody here did not come about from their mother and father? Somebody came about from a washing machine, right? Like everybody is here from their mother and father, even if you don't know them. Some people don't grow up with their parents. Some people only grow up with one parent. But with all of that happening, what's going on with the relationship? That plaque right there, all because two people fell in love. And that's the relationship we're talking about. Do you guys still believe in love? Do y'all believe in a man and a woman falling in love? Is there a criteria? Is there something that needs to take place in order for a man and a woman to fall in love? You don't see too much conversation about that. You don't see much conversation online on these apps about somebody talking about their husband or somebody talking about their wife. You see a lot of nonsense about people talking about something after the fact, how the relationship was so bad. And many of these guys are just trolling. They're just looking for ways to make money off of people's pain. And you should know that because people talk about everything online. There's no shortage of conversation of what people talk about on the internet. There's not even really anything that people deem inappropriate anymore for the internet. So all of these people who are talking about how their relationships were so bad, why didn't we ever see them talking about the relationships and how good they were before they got bad? It couldn't have been bad from the beginning because why would they be in a relationship to begin with? Right? You guys agree? Why would you be in a relationship if it was bad from the very beginning? So if you're telling us about the relationship now that it's over and bad, why didn't you tell us about it when it was good? You guys, y'all not with me on that one? Priscilla, you with me on that one? Yeah, Priscilla, I'm talking to you, girl. What's up? Glad to see you here. Dwayne, glad to see you here. Ms. Jones, what's up, mama? Glad to see you here. Are you guys with me on that one? People talk about everything. So if they talk about everything, where are the people talking about the relationships when they started? How optimistic they were? How happy they were? Where's that content? Some of these people have kids. A child isn't born in 9 minutes. So what? What happened? Is there not an audience for that? Do you guys not want to hear that? Do you guys not want to hear about the success of people's relationships? Do you only want to hear about the turmoil, the trauma? Y'all want a trauma bond with these people telling you that the dating pool got piss in it? Is that what you want to hear? So if people are talking about everything, then where is the good? Because if all you have to report is the bad of what happened in your life, it couldn't have started bad. So why don't we have anything from you when it was good? Or are the stories that you're telling us of it being so bad, it's just simply not true? You're just making it up. You pulling the Meg the Stallion on us. You wilding on us. You styling on us. You're just making it up that all of your relationships have been so bad. Because there was a thing not too long ago. Remember, it was about the effect, right? That was a big thing. The black man effect. And you would see these videos and they'll be talking about how the relationships are with black men. And I remember one that I caught. The woman was talking about how she was in relationships with these other races and how she was. How was her demeanor? How was her face? Her level of happiness? And how she was so happy when she was in these relationships with the other races of men. And it cuts to when she's in the relationships with black men, and then how she was just so miserable and sad and heartbroken and in pain and tears. What you guys think about that? Y'all think that's true? Do y'all think that she was having levels of success and happiness? Wyatt, what do you think about that? Jason, Priscilla, I see you. JDB, what's good, JDB? Do y'all think, Mitch, do y'all think she was having success in the relationships with the guys from other races and she was happy and they were treating her better, and then her life took a turn for the worse when she started to date black men? What do y'all think? I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you guys what I think. Because I don't think it's a good sound. I don't think she was telling the truth. Reason why I don't think she was telling the truth is because if the relationships with the men of other races were so good, and guess what? You never even would have made it to the black men. Because the relationships you had with the men of other races wouldn't have ended. So you wouldn't even have had that much experience with those men throughout those races, because the first guy of whatever race he was from, you would have been with him still. So how did you end up with all of these multiple men and you're saying they treated you good? Then why weren't you with the first one? How did somebody treat you good and yet that relationship ended? And then someone else treated you good and that relationship ended. And then someone else treated you good and that relationship ended? You guys buy that? So when they sell that, you guys buy that? Huh? What y'all think? That's what I want to know. If these all of these other guys treated you so good in these other nationalities, yet somehow, some way, they all left you. And then there's just this black man somewhere, and you just fell into their hands. And then they started to mistreat you. They started to treat you bad. Now you sad. But how you felt when the relationships with the good guys ended? You weren't sad. Wouldn't a woman be sad if she was in a relationship with a good guy and that relationship ended? She wouldn't cry over that. So people just put out stuff, right? It's propaganda. They put out a lot of nonsense. What is it going to take to actually make a relationship work? Is it 50-50? Is that what it is? Is that what's going to make it work? Is it enjoying life in your 20s and then having your own money, your own car, your own house, and now that you're 35, is that what's going to make a relationship work? Is your person going to be manifested to you in 2026? You're going to find your person? How? I don't know, man. A lot of this stuff is kind of it's very humorous to me. But what is it going to take for a relationship to work, or can they just simply not work? Can they just when it comes to relationships between men and women, are we doomed? Is it over? Because we're still seeing children being born. So obviously, they're being born from some relationship, or are they not being born from relationships? Is that why the relationships just seem to be getting weaker and weaker as time goes on? Because we have more and more children being born outside of an actual committed relationship between their mother and father. Y'all didn't think I was going to go there, did you? Do your children stand a chance? Are you setting your children up for success in the relationship space if you, as the parents, if you guys aren't involved in a relationship? If a man and woman meet one another Thursday and they're together Saturday, 2 weeks later, the woman finds out that she's pregnant, but they're not in a committed relationship. And as a matter of fact, they're not in a relationship at all. So they basically go their separate ways. Is that helping the children? Is that providing some form of foundation for that child or those children moving forward in what to look for in a relationship? Because you have people who are in a relationship, you have men and women who are in relationships with one another, and some of those families, there's no relationships. There's no marriage. Like there's no men in the family. It's just all baby moms. The aunt's a baby mom, the mom's a baby mom, the grandma's a baby mom, the sister's a baby mom. What are we talking about here? Right there for you, my brother. We are talking about our relationships over. I appreciate the comment, Alexander. That's what we're talking about. Our relationships over. What do you think? Are they no more? Is there any saving relationships? And the last thing that was just posed is that if parents, if they themselves aren't in a committed relationship, can they then teach children how to be in a relationship? Are they given any form of education that their children should look for? I think relationships are important, even if they are toxic. I have to agree with you, sir. I have to agree. This is what our good friend Alexander said. We appreciate that comment. Alexander on YouTube said he believes relationships are important. I believe the relationships, Alex, between a man and a woman is by far the most important relationship on the planet Earth. And it is the most dynamic and the most interesting and the most needed. And even if it's toxic, there's always a solution. There's words that seem to they're like missiles that go after relationships. And people put it out there in the stratosphere, they put it out there in the air, and these words or these thoughts, it's like their sole purpose is to attack the relationship between a man and a woman. Toxic is one of them. Anarchy, a narcissist, that was another one. because people was just throwing that thing out like wet paper. Like they was just saying it. No trained professionals, nothing. Nobody being diagnosed with it, but people were just saying it. What happened? Why are you not in a relationship with no more? He was a narcissist. Diagnosed? Or you just saying it? And when did he become one? Right? So there's always these things that people throw out, as they would say in the lexicon, and it becomes part of the conversation, and it goes to destroy the actual relationship. Battle of the sexes, that was another one, right? So there's been, you could say, a tug of war between men and women when it comes to relationships, especially in the Western world, because there's no proper structure. And you have several generations now where children are not being born to married parents. Now, every child, what did you say? You can always learn from good or bad relationships. Doesn't mean you should destroy it. Alex, again, making more great points. In relationships, there has to be time. You have to have patience. And there has to be something which I had said. My wife gave me this flower that y'all see up there. And she gave me that as a token of seeking forgiveness. And that is one of the most important things, ingredients to a relationship, is forgiveness. If you think, or if you have the nerve to get on the internet and get on these apps and talk about if a person does this and a person does that, you need to leave them, you're a clown. Because everybody's life is not just in that type of situation where they can just get up and go, number one. And some of the reasons why people give for why you should leave a person is some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Why would you leave your husband or your wife, or in this case, your husband, if he lost his job? That's not an increase in money. Your financial status doesn't become heightened because you left your husband because he lost his job. But they'll get on the internet and they'll say that. Sis, if that man's not going to put you first, you better leave him. Why would a man put his woman first? What exactly does that mean? Is he putting her robe on her? Like, what is he doing for his family if he's putting anyone in the family first? Like, where do people get these things from? And what is the evidence of success? Appreciate you, Alex. Alex said we spitting straight facts. Where's the evidence of success that people have when they say these things? If you're putting a woman first, that means you're chasing her. And why would you chase the woman that you're with? She's already there. Whatever you chase is ahead of you. Wherever it goes, you go. So how can you be in a relationship but yet you're chasing? So forgiveness is something that has to be there. Now, every single thing cannot be forgiven in a relationship. That's a whole fact. There's certain things like if you got things on the Diddy trial, there's some things there that shouldn't have been forgiven, but there's some things that shouldn't have been participated in to begin with. But nevertheless, forgiveness has to be there. And why are so many people afraid to go before the world and say, I'm a husband and I'm a husband to this day because I've been forgiven? I'm a wife. Why are women afraid to get out there on the internet and say, I'm a wife and I'm still a wife to this day, and I thank God that I'm a wife to this day because either I've forgiven my husband or he's forgiven me, or both have taken place? That's strength. That's power. That's a person who's been through it, who can stand before and actually inform you on how to make it, on how to withstand the test of time. Because in relationships, you're going to have issues. You're going to have things that's going to try their best to end your relationship. And one of those things are people. And some of those people could be within the relationship. Listen, forgive and grow. This is what builds strong relationships. That's what Alex said. Strong relationships. Forgive and grow. So people would look to destroy your relationship. If you've ever heard somebody say, and unfortunately most times I've seen it, it'll be a woman saying, why wouldn't you fight for this? I would think you would fight for this relationship more. Y'all know what that means, right? If she tells you, I would have expected you to fight for this relationship, that means she's fighting against you. That's what that means. You're in a relationship with someone who's currently fighting against you. They're your enemy. You're literally sleeping with the enemy. And they're fighting against you. So they're watching you to see how you respond. And if you respond on 10 and do things and say things that she deems that those are the actions of a person who wants to save the relationship, then she's telling you that's how you win her over. And she will then continue in the relationship. If you believe that. Doesn't mean she'll be pleasant or pleasing to you, but what it does mean is that she's fighting against you. When that's one of the biggest mistakes, because what you're supposed to do as a collective, the two of you, is y'all are supposed to fight for the relationship. And you don't fight for the relationship against one another. You fight for the relationship against the forces that's on the exterior, looking to break apart your relationship. And God even tells you that. So, why would somebody within the relationship say, I would have thought you would have done more to fight for this relationship? Because they're fighting against you. That's why. So you have so many forces that's out there to destroy the relationship. Could be family. You can't do anything about who you're related to. That's why I'll say there's a difference between family and relatives. Relatives are just people you're related to. You know, you don't have nothing to do about that. But family, that's a bond that's strong. And you can be family with people who you're not even related to. And you can have a stronger bond with them than you do with your actual blood relatives. But they could be seeking to destroy your relationship. Maybe because they hate the fact that you're still in one, that you have a successful one, that they want to give you foolish advice on how to deal with women because they've never had any success with women. Sleeping with women is not having success in relationships, because anybody and anything could sleep with someone. That's not evidence of success. But where's the actual relationship? Where's the body? Where's that at? So many people are representing the fact that they had this and they had that and they had this and they had that. And you know what they have? Just a whole bunch of war stories and scars and pain and bad things that they did that they don't want you to know about because they want to make it seem like someone else did it and they were on the receiving end and they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything bad. But yet they're standing on this trash pile of non-committed relationships. They have commitment issues. They've never lived with another adult of the opposite sex. And yet they want to be the first one to tell you about relationships. So with so many people like that, it would appear that relationships are over. These dating coaches, some of them are terrible because the true success in a date is the next one, right? If you go on a date with a woman and that date was successful, then you're going to have another date, and then another date, and then another date. And then eventually you're going to have a relationship. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. Let's read that. Hold on. 1 Corinthians, it's the Holy Bible here. KJV, for those of you who don't know, King James Version. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. All right, man. Appreciate you, definitely. Appreciate all what you did tonight, man, with all your support. So, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4 to 7, right? I think that's what you said. It says, every man, appreciate you guys for liking the live, definitely. Double tap that screen. We're reading the Bible right now. It's never a bad time for the Bible, for the Word of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4 through 7. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one as if she were shaven, as if her hair was shaven. Okay, here we go. I think we wanted to get to verse 7, I'm guessing. 7 and 8. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and the glory of God. But the woman is the glory of the man. I mean, again, you're seeing the dynamic of the relationship between a man and a woman. And God being the creator of a man and a woman, I'm seeing what his expectations are. He's supposed to make God proud. She's supposed to make him proud. That's what God will show off, the man. That's what the man will show off, the woman. That's who God can glory in, the man. That's who the man can glory in, his woman. What is the problem with that relationship? To me, that just seems magnificent. That link right there, that link tree, seems to be dynamic. God, a man, and a woman, and that man and a woman in their relationship working together before God. I don't know. I can't see what I'm seeing. I can't say that Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez is better than what I'm reading here. I'm going to say Diddy and Cassie is better than this. Papoose and Remy is better than this. I don't know, man. Seems like we make a lot of mistakes the further we get away from this right here. The more and more we don't stick to the script, the more chaotic it gets, the more toxic it gets, the more wrongdoing we commit. And I think the last verse he had out there was verse 8. It says, "For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man." Because women do come from men. That's why they bear the name of men. We all bear the name of men. But in men are living organisms. The seed, it's alive. And then when that seed enters into that woman, a magnificent thing takes place to further on and to continue life. So, are relationships truly over? Is there a saving of relationships? Who should be educating us on how to save a relationship or how to enter into relationships or what to even do in a relationship? Is that information out here? Right? So we definitely hope you guys have been informed. We want to appreciate and show love to Alexander, who was there throughout. All of you guys for joining the live. All of you guys in the chat, your comments, liking the live and everything, sharing it for those of you who did that. We appreciate you guys. So, relationships are here to stay, baby. They're not going anywhere. You can try your best and come up with these words and these slanderous attacks, but they're still going to be here because God wants them to be here. He created relationships. We didn't have to have relationships. We could have been something else like trees. But we interact with one another in an intimate way. So God is here. He's real. He's alive. He knows what he's doing. He knows better than mankind. So guess what? We're going to have more and more and more and more relationships. Doesn't matter how jaded you are, how bitter you are, how hurt, how sad, because we all experience all of those things, even the ones in the relationship. But there is a reward to withstand. There is a reward for the commitment, the dedication, the honoring of the duty and the tasks that come along with the relationship. And there's no better feeling that you can have with a person who was once a stranger. You have children, and they were never strangers. You basically knew them before they knew themselves. And the relationship between a man and a woman can surpass that. And that person was once a stranger, might even have been your enemy. Hopefully they don't become your enemy while you're in the relationship, but they might even have been your enemy. And now they've become the greatest person ever to enter into your personal life as far as a relationship is concerned. Beautiful thing. But it takes work. And it takes the right people putting out the right informative energy for everybody else to learn, to vibe off of, to feel support from, to feel empowered by, and to support. So, appreciate all of you guys for rocking with us throughout the night, checking with us. We had love from India. We had Alexander. We had love from Holland. We're international with it, baby. Appreciate all of you guys. Definitely thank you guys. Double tap that screen, like, share, follow. That's what we're here for. I'm trying to boost these things up to 3 a week. I already let my family know, 3 a week.